Hi there, it's Sam from poodles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's project is this one, and it's a tall, thin box, and I say tall because you open it at the top. You could imagine that's stuffed full of sweeties, or maybe a tie or something like that, or a scarf, something beautiful or lovely. Make it a rummage bag where you sort of wrap a load of little individual toiletries or lipsticks and cosmetics or sweets and put them all in there, and yeah, you open it up and there's one gift and another one, and another one. But I just love it. But what I wanted to show you was a couple of things. Random stamping, which is where you're creating your own pattern, and also these flowers. Now, as you know, I went out and joined my French team recently. Well, actually, at the beginning of March, so a while ago now. And Sophie taught us one particular technique with some beautiful flowers, which I will be showing you her version, but this is my version. So I found that the way she did them hurt my hands. So this is my version. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is a piece of cardstock that's 8 by 11 inches. Now I've got the thick Whisper White. You can hear it's a bit thicker. And then my beautiful stamp set, the Birthday Blossoms, because I wanted this random stamping, but I also wanted that flower. So you can see how well loved it is. It's stained black now. Okay, let's find a block for it to fit on. So it does fit on this one. So this block is a D block, and I went with rose red on this one, but I'm going to go real red on this one, actually, because I haven't used real red for a long time. I probably even need to re-ink my ink pad. Okay, so just randomly stamp all over. Love this kind of crafting. No rules, just stamp when you fancy. And just keep turning your block around. You do find that there are ways that fit better than others, but it means that kind of no two pieces of paper are going to look the same. They're all going to look a bit different. Just keep going. You can imagine this in any colour, can't you? Pretty much with any pattern, really. Any small repetitive pattern that doesn't matter which way up it is, you can do this technique. And, oh, move that round. Last little bit. And there we go. So that's that done. Now I've got over here just some plain Whisper White cardstock, because I'm just going to move that off to one side, and I do want it to dry a bit. Red is very, very juicy, and it can sort of wander if you haven't left it to dry. So I've got some plain Whisper White, and that'll be my doorbell, and I'm going to stamp the large flower 3 times on the Whisper White. Just move all of that out of the way, and then I'm going to grab my Pansy punch and punch this out of real red 6 times, because each of my flowers requires 3. Each flower that I'm going to curl and show for you needs 3 of these. Hence why I've punched it and stamped it. Sorry, hence why I've stamped it 3 times. And there as well. Okay, so I'm going to do some sponging too. Let's just go to town with everything. So real red, and I've got my sponge all here ready. So I'm just going to sponge around the edges of these flowers. Quite therapeutic doing this. I'm not a fan of using a dauber though. I can't bear the feel of them on my fingertip. Anybody else like that? It's just, oof, the thought of it on my fingertips, ugh, not good. And you don't have to go round the red cardstock flowers, but it can make a real difference. You perhaps can't see it so well on camera, but it is it's tinting up the edges quite a lot. Last couple. You can just see I'm twisting it round in my fingertips. There we go. Okay, so paper snips. What I have got, and I will show you on the plain ones first, I'm cutting towards the centre of all of them, and I have got a very small gap, but you kind of do need the small gap. So that's one, and it will be on a lower layer. Okay. And I'm going to repeat it exactly the same, also a lower layer. So I'm going to stack them up. Keep coming around. Lower layer. And then the same with these stamped ones. So I'm going to turn them over so I can see a bit better. Look, you can see where the red ink wasn't dry, so that's why I've left making the card for making the box for a minute, just to give that red a proper chance to dry. So that's a lower layer, and these are all going to nest on top of one another. And now with the top layer, we're going to go down the centre of each petal as well as coming round. Can you see? Like that, all the way round and between the petals as well, but obviously don't be chopping bits of petal off. So that's now a top layer, and repeat again. If you were doing these as wedding favours, set aside quite a few nights. Or if you were going to be making lots for, maybe if you're going to do a floral wreath or something like that, definitely set plenty of time aside. Not something to be rushed. Okay, so they're done. Right, I need my spongy mat. So actually this is the insert of the colour caddy. No, the clear block, I can't speak, the clear block caddy. And this is a nice spongy mat. And what you're going to do now, so where the, I've sponged the edges here, the sponging is upright and I'm gripping hard, so I'm not going to separate it, and I'm just curling the tips of that flower. Literally just the tip, and the next layer up. So this is one that's only had 5 little cuts, and again just the tip. That's going to sit on top, but we'll do it in a second. This one you do have to be very careful because it's got 10 little cuts. Okay, so they're all going to go together like that. You need the end of your paper piercer, bottom layer one, push in, and it's just curled itself up, and the next layer up, and this one as well. And so, where's my mini glue dots? Into the middle of this one, and this one just offset it very slightly. And push firmly, and it's all curling in on itself, and that into the centre of there, and again into the centre, and again push really firmly, and it's all curling up beautifully. So it's curling up nicely. You can be a bit brutal with it. Be careful of the petals, but you can scrumple it, and I tend to use my thumb, and scrumple is such a technical word, and you know exactly what I mean. Scrumple it up like that and repeat the process. So I'm not going to have you watch me do that. So I'm going to pop this on pause, do these, and then I will come back to you, because we're already at 10 minutes and I haven't even started making the box yet. And then I will show you how to stick them like this. So I shall be back soon. Hi, I'm back. So I've got all 3 of my flowers done now, as I promised, and I'm going to put them all together, but I need to kind of get the box put together. So let's clear some space. I can't remember if I told you the size of the piece of cardstock, 8 by 11 inches, 20 by 28 centimetres. And on the long side, score it at 1 inch, 9.5 and 10.5 inches, which in metric is 2.5, 24 and 26.5, and then turn it round and score it at 1, 3 3/4, 4 3/4 and 7.5 inches, which in metric is 2.5, 9.5, 12 and 19 centimetres. Right, so I'm going to burnish all of these, and this thick Whisper White really is thick. So you have to let it know who's boss. So this, I'm going to show you this way round because I think the pattern will be a bit off-putting, but you can see that red needs some time to dry. Okay, so this is the bottom of the box, and all these little squares you just need to wedge into a little bit. And then this one, we're going to get rid of it completely. So just chop that away. Okay, so round at the top, we've got a front and a back, and this part here we need to keep, and we need to get rid of all of that one. So first things first, get rid of all that section. So it's the 4 segments, 2, 3, 4, next to the thin rectangle. So get rid of those. Okay, and we're left with this. This is what's going to fold over and fold in. So these are the little side tabs, and again, just wedge into them very slightly. Not too much, but enough so that the box will close, and take off that part. And the same here as well. So what's going to happen is it's all going to close round, and that will tuck away. So I want to just round the corners of this little tab here. So I'm just going to round those, and then I can start gluing it together. Now I'm not going to glue the base because I want to get my flowers on, and you need to press firmly. So this thin part here, grab your adhesive and run it all the way down the side. Oops. And fold over and close. Press firmly, because like I say, thick Whisper White is tough. So that's now the box, at the back of the box, and I want to get my flowers on the front, and you need to hold them in position. So I also need to put gems in the middle of them. That would be useful. So faceted gems. I like. So it will have, I think we'll have the big ones on this one. Actually, I put big ones on the last ones. So into the middle, and don't worry if it opens up out again. We can, you know, scrumple it all up. into the middle and just scrumple and crumple it all back up and round, because we want this nice layered tight look. And these, and you can do it layer by layer if you want, which is actually what I'm going to do. How pretty are they? And like I say, I will show you the ones that Sophie taught us. They are similar but different to this. They are they use a different technique to get the floral look. But it hurt my thumbs because I'm a wimp. So I had to keep taking a break. But I wanted the prettiness of the flowers, so I worked out my own variation on a theme. I've done lots of stuff with a pansy punch. I don't think I've ever done 3 layers though, and I rather like it. Okay, so all scrumpled. Right, glue, liquid glue as well. So blob some onto the bottom of all 3 and decide where you want it. So I want mine kind of about there and about there and kind of in there, and you just hold them in position, and you do have to wait a while because it's liquid glue, which I've just got all over my finger, and I put quite a bit of it. Oh no, look, I've blobbed it. Oh. Just hold those in place. There we go, gone. Good. Okay, I'm just going to set that to dry for a second because I want to stamp now. And from the same collection, this one here, Have a Beautiful Birthday. And I'm measuring it up, and I'm going to stamp it at 3 inches, because actually this is a 3-inch box. No, it's not, it's 2 3/4. So I'm going to go 2 3/4, 2 3/4 by 1 inch. Grab my trimmer. And oh goodness, let's straighten that bit up. So what did I say? 1.5 inches. Oh, that is not straight at all. That's sort of straight. 1.5 by 2.5, did I say? 1.5 by 2.5. So about 4 by 6 centimetres. That's the same. That's good. Okay, grab a block that you can see through so you can line up your stamp. Okay, real red, line this up on there. And I'm going to come back in with this one that I used before to just come along the edges a little bit. Okay. Again, because it's red, I'm going to have to leave that to dry. I'm going to have to leave everything to dry. Okay, that's the front of the box. Run it round, and I'm going to use some fuse to seal that up without scrumpling up my flowers. Pop those round and tuck it in. Into there. Is that going to be dry? I hope so. I'm going to hold it with my fingernails. Back in with my red, just a sponge around the edges. And then dimensionals on the back of here. Just a couple. Pop that under there, And then I'm going to come back into my flowers a little bit more, just to scrumple them up. And I love it. Absolutely love that. Just gorgeous. Rose red, real red. Darling box. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me. Hope to speak to you very soon. Bye.